Chapter 7: Radionics in the Business World: Purchases, Sales, and Money. This chapter is especially dedicated for considering the performance you would expect from a radionics device from an economic point of view when applied to deal with money or business. How to find the best options in business or property acquisition. If you decide to acquire a versatile radionic device, you will be amazed at its wide possibilities for action. Every day, users use their device with very different approaches. You can use it for purchasing of all types of properties or products and also to establish businesses. Imagine that you want to buy a second-hand car and you want to speed up the process as well as have greater confidence in making a proper purchase. To do this, make a list of the cars that have caught your attention the most. Then point one by one to the items on your list. You can point directly on a computer screen, using a pointer connected to your radionic device, depending on the device. You can also write the vehicle data on a piece of paper and place the data on the analysis surface. Using the potentiometers and the adherence plate, you can make a selection of the cars of greatest interest. By moving your fingers over the adherence plate or stick plate, you will notice that when one of them is a good choice, your fingers will stick to the surface of the device. Then, among the best, you can set a score that indicates the best car for your needs and the vibratory quality of the car. The same can be done when making a real estate purchase between similar options or choosing a hotel for vacation. The use of radionics provides us with an additional assurance of calmness and confidence. Generally, the person who comes into this amazing world of radionics uses the new detection system as an element of additional information to keep in mind. The initial level of confidence is often scarce. It is common to think that positive results have to do with coincidence mixed with high doses of desire that everything goes well. It seems impossible that things could go so well using a device whose scientific validity is neither clear nor acceptable from an academic point of view. But as happens again and again that the information collected in this way is true and valuable, the radionic operator enters a period of confidence and security in the readings, and also in the ability to materialize objectives through the device. The initial sense of chance gives way to huge certainty and conviction in both the detection process as it does in emission and subsequent feedback. Finally, the operator obtains results that often exceed their expectation and amazes them even after years of positive experience. Radionics for buying, radionics for selling. We have mentioned how you can make choices when it comes to purchase or rent of a particular good. But what happens when selling? Is there any advantage for using these devices? Between professional sellers, it is always said how nice it would be not to have to convince people to buy and to have the opportunity to address only those who willingly want to make the purchase of a product they represent. Well, radionics facilitates this process without a long training. Many sellers have huge lists of customers, and their job is to call as many as possible to sell the item or service. What if it is possible to somehow find who will be more inclined to buy? Well, there are several possibilities. The most used method is to point the pointer to which we referred earlier on the list provided. While pointing the pointer, or otherwise, depending on the device in question, slide your finger on the adherence plate and wait to receive the feeling of stiffness or contact. When the signal is perceived, the reference is written down. Then all the references which receive a signal are chosen as particularly significant. These will be used to focus personal forces in a more precise way on these potential customers. The seller can spend more time and provide further explanation to these possible customers because the chances of success will be much greater. Sale of real estate or other properties. You can load a small or large object at vibrational level to make it more attractive. To do that, incorporate the IDFs you deem most appropriate for your prospective buyer with your radionic device, no matter if the product is as small as a watch or as large as a mansion. To save money on advertising, you can choose the best media to advertise what you sell internet, website, television, radio, or newspaper. To do that, use all the signals detected through the adherence plate of your radionic device. You can choose the section, page, or the day of publication most suitable for your potential customer to see the ad. Remember the theory of interconnection between human beings and all that surrounds us. Radionic can measure parameters indicating possibilities, so you can tell when it's the best to perform certain actions and when to avoid them. This can save a lot of time, effort, and of course money. Talks. Negotiations may be the key element that allows us to close a deal, win or lose money, or even decide the future of a company. Sometimes it can be only an economic question. What figure may the other party be willing to accept to close a deal? What is the acceptable price to make the sale? What is the price at which the supplier would be willing to sell his product? Sometimes the price is the less relevant issue within certain ranges, and yet there are aspects that are not known at first sight but can be conclusive for successful completion of an agreement. Is it possible to exchange good beside money, shares or other types of ownerships, rights, delivery, concession on payments? Knowing what is of interest to the other person can mean achieving the desired win-win state in which all parties are satisfied in the process. Use radionics to program yourself and be more perceptive when dealing with a specific person or company. Then write down everything you think that may be of interest to negotiate. Use a pointer connected to your device, go through each idea, pointing all of them, mentally asking if that particular idea can be of value to the other part for reaching an agreement. If you notice a contact or adherence in any of the written points, mark them. You can then move the pointer back to each of the positive points and take a numerical value, 0 to 100 for example, and classify them in order of importance to the person or group who has to negotiate with you. This method is used by people engaged in business that use radionics to close deals more efficiently. Can this be used in your field of activity? After reading these ideas, would you think of any other application that could help you? Election of shares and companies to invest. Everyone knows that markets are highly manipulated by multiple factors in addition to receiving the impact of unexpected events that can alter price without anyone doing anything about it. Natural disasters, accidents, terrorist acts, etc. With this in mind, we say that the IDFs of manipulations and trade agreements can be very powerful and detectable, but the oscillations due to unexpected events have the ability to remove a person from their position very easily if a heavily leveraged product or participation in the market is chosen. So what shall we conclude? Simply that you can easily spot a trend, but this trend should be followed closely to avoid surprises for the investor who uses radionics. In highly volatile markets, investors must be especially cautious. For example, in the Forex market, there can be fluctuation of 300 points or more without the main trend, the most easily detectable changes. Radionics can be very useful, but it's essential that the operator acts wisely when managing information and investment, knowing the consequences of certain actions in a specific market. In the classic buying of companies' shares, the likelihood of success is increased if the investor is moderate and makes purchases without leverage and with a long time horizon. Following this method, it is easy to make a portfolio of promising companies, making the selection with the help of radionics. That can mean outstanding performances compared to other systems. Remember to use caution until the practice shows you that the method chosen and adapted to your way of investing is reasonably certain. Finally, make sure what your choices are appropriate by detailed research and accurate analysis using traditional patterns as much as possible. Take special care not to play and risk large amounts of money, as it can lead to self-deception and impair your ability to accurately detect the right choice. Help for established businesses. The factors affecting a business are many and varied. You can inquire with Radionics the main reason why a business does not go well: wrong strategy, bad management, inadequate staff, poor presentation, unsuitable location, unnecessary expenses, selection of poorly sellable products, and etc. Or a combination of several. Once you detect the problem, it will be easier to make modifications accurately without wasting time doing unnecessary or even counterproductive actions. You can remove general barriers, improve the capacities of certain key people, detect the main cause of unsuccessful business, and even sweeten the offer or the business itself for customers. You can also specify the most appropriate decoration for the place of the company in order to be more attractive and sell more. Colors, furniture, location of tables, etc., etc., etc. It is not advisable to manipulate customers to purchase the product we sell, because we have already explained that there are mechanisms of protection in humans. We refer to directly influencing the purchase of an item or group of products. Ethics must be present in all our actions and experimentations. Remember that in trying to make someone go against their will, using radionics, we create unconscious resistance in the person. You may get results for a while with manipulation, especially if you act on individuals who are energetically unstructured. But the person will have a deep inner rejection toward you that will increase over time and eventually could turn against you. It is always better to use the radionics as an enhancer of the positive. We will seek to attract individuals who previously wanted our product or our service. Radionics devices with life energy generators work very well to load a certain business with IDFs and make it attractive for people that are looking for what you sell. You can make a business or company very attractive and magnetic using this method. You can also act on specific factors of your business, as mentioned before. For example, load the business cards with energy or with certain IDFs to draw the attention of the card holder. Do the same on publicity leaflets, introducing an attracting vibration, or improve the taste of a product to make it more enjoyable for the customer, etc. In all this, the imagination of entrepreneurs will be the guide to implement the key points of business using radionics. In any case, the results are often shocking and bold. Improving credit control. Some users employ radionics to establish more security when giving credit to their customers. A small company had problems because of the high number of defaults on its customers, despite using the classical methods of economic study to incorporate customers into its business portfolio. Using radionics to know the real possibility of receipts and payments of their clients, as well as honesty and intention to meet its obligation, delinquencies declined by more than 50%. Reduce negative factors related to sick leave. Other companies have focused on improving health on a subtle level of their employees, noting that the sickness rate dropped significantly. Since specialization of labor can be high and it's difficult to temporarily replace some workers, the health of a person can have a major impact on the course of business, especially small businesses. Removing barriers in negotiations. Almost any radionic device can be used to remove blockages that prevent us to complete negotiations. A very versatile device for all types of solution is the SE5-1000, see chapter on modern radionics instruments. Also, and more affordable, are devices like ARE-X Series X1, X2, or X3 Pro. If we use these devices, we can follow specific routines that help us to bring to fruition negotiations that have sometimes been stagnant. It is very interesting that after mobilizing energies, the negotiation moves very fast and resolves problems very well for both parties, or is rapidly broken when the agreement is materially impossible. In both cases, an operator notices the result is positive. In the first case, because a satisfactory agreement is achieved. In the second case, because the stalled negotiations are finished. Any of these events tend to end up being more positive for the radionic user than accepted. It is very common that new possibilities appear, even new deals for new businesses that are profitable or more profitable than those who would have resulted from the initial negotiations. Many times when we are immersed in the idea of closing an agreement, we tend to forget about other possibilities that may be even better ones. Surely, the reader also checked firsthand that when things are forced too much and closing them inappropriately, the consequences are often unsatisfactory or even harmful. At such times, we say, it seems that something was telling me that the agreement would not bring anything good. I shouldn't have insisted so much when I saw such a resistance. It is possible to make a radionic analysis of each immersed part in a negotiation and remove barriers on each side or clarify where the main impediments are. Everyone knows that it is essential to know the real motivation of the parties to reach a good agreement. Since radionic devices can measure existing IDFs, it is possible to analyze hidden springs that may be essential for successful completion of an agreement or a transaction. Blockages in business. Many users have been amazed to see that when the barriers disappear in a business, customers begin to come in large numbers. On the occasion that the business does not improve, after removing barriers, it is important to perform routines of cleaning and vibrational enhancement of the owners of the company because they can be the root of the problem. The psychological state and vibrational balance of the directors of a commercial activity is essential for the smooth running of the company, be it small or large. Radionics devices let you work the psychological aspects of people, mood, and balance. Advertising and attracting customers. You can achieve greater effectiveness on your advertising campaigns using radionic equipment. Some devices, like the SE5-1000, have software that can be tailored to a specific campaign. Other devices have their own vital energy model that can be modulated to expand or convey the idea that you want to spread. See devices like ARE X1, X2, and X3 Pro. Ideally, use both types of device because the results can be truly amazing. The cost of the equipment will be negligible and absolutely minimized from the start compared to the benefits to be gained and savings on effective advertising, even at low-cost campaigns elaborated by small businesses. It has already been mentioned that it is possible to load promotional items, leaflets, letters for mailings, business cards, merchandising, etc., with the right vibration to enhance our business opportunities or setting up contacts to a subtle level with our prospects. Whenever you do this, it is important to measure whether it is appropriate to perform this action or not. Devices like the SC5-1000 have incorporated a program that evaluates whether there are impediments to this procedure. With AREX devices, you can also do this easily. When a radionics IDFs related to the products is emitted directly into the space, it ensures that potential customers can naturally resonate with the product and tend to be interested in. You cannot cheat when using subtle energies. The recipient receives the true reality of things. We have said that ethics must prevail in the use of radionics devices. It is not appropriate to try to deceive or manipulate anyone, whatever the method used. Moreover, a radionic device placed information in the subtle field or matrix that we all share, and the people that resonate with the message have the option to reply or not to it. Again, the recipient receives the message without the accessories that usually handle the information. The person perceives the intention. If it resonates with that intention, they will respond. If not, there will be no response. We can set sale goals for a given product, measuring in advance the radionic potential of what we promote in accordance with the public demand for the product. Once these parameters are measured, we will know more accurately the full extent of the result. You can also measure the energy index of a campaign. It is possible to measure different types of ads for the same product to see what impact they will have or choose the means to provide better results, whether it's television, radio, newspaper, magazines, internet, etc. It is even possible to establish the best program in any media to place the ad, the most auspicious days, hours, or spaces where our product will have a greater impact and the advertising will be more profitable. The latter is important because often the more spending does not mean better performance. Invest 100,000 euros or dollars in a campaign in the wrong media or in unsuitable TV slot, and you can have less performance than 2,000 euros or dollars invested in the media program, day and time that fits the customer profile and when they are more inclined to assimilate the information or make the purchase. The waveforms and the business activity. It is mentioned in this manual how the geometric shapes and other designs generate waveforms that can be beneficial or harmful. When making a design or logo which identifies your company, you can make a radionic test to check the quality and power of the design in order to represent your company. Place the logo on your device and then type or write down, depending on the device type, a word or phrase that you would like to attribute to your business. For example, honesty, commercial success, attracting a lot of satisfied customers, large income generation, etc. Place the potentiometer corresponding to the maximum and gradually lower it until you can see that the adherence plate indicates contact, an adherence sensation. The higher the amount indicated for the message you test, the better the logo chosen. You can test colors, fonts, size, or inclusion of lines, dots, or characters. There are people dedicated to design that obtain very significant results using Radionics. Do not forget that you can also test workplaces, achieving good vibrations depending on the elements that contain the location and arrangement thereof. Using Feng Shui and Radionics to get perfect setting for a particular business can mean a drastic change in the revenue produced. Choosing franchises. Today, many people choose this way to channel their business ambitions. Franchises usually offer greater chances of success in the adventure of opening a business due to the support and expertise of a reputable and established business, if you can check it. The offer is very wide and sometimes within certain investment possibilities. It is difficult to choose between various activities and between several companies. First of all, you can test with your radionic device what are the most profitable franchise and easier to establish. After that, place a sample of you and a sample of each franchise chosen to see the compatibility with the business model advocated by the franchisor. Choose the franchises with better measures and discard those that offer a lower reading. Then put the name of the city where you live and want to establish the business and measure again. Finally, include the exact address where you think to establish the franchise business to see if the location is good enough. Initially, you are testing the viability of the business, profitability, and ease of running it. You must consider that there are very profitable franchises, but whose overall difficulty prevents a high rate of success. Then check if your personal style is compatible with the style of the company. If the vibrations are similar, you'll get high or very high readings for this concept. Note that for a business to flourish, the person in charge has to feel comfortable with the activity performed. Furthermore, an activity can be very profitable in one city and complete failure in another for the same reason. Finally, consider the neighborhood, street, and the right place to set up the franchise. It is well known that even in the same street, a particular site can make between 10 and 50% more commercial activity depending on various factors that are not always visible. Already, it has been considered how it is possible to clean the energy of a location or a house, in addition to balancing the environment and enhancing the vibration and the energy breathed and felt in the place. To end this session, we will repeat that the use of radionic devices in this and any other field is only limited by the creativity of who operates them. Every business and every circumstance have specific needs and concrete solutions, but being able to access a much wider world of possibilities presents an extraordinary advantage. And since we are dealing with an issue that is measurable from the economic point of view, we can say that the yield of radionic equipment exceeds hundreds or even thousands of times the investment required to purchase one of these devices, regardless of the other applications that are presented in this book. Radionics and money. Many will be thinking, if you can positively influence so many things, is it possible to influence economic abundance, attract the money directly, increasing the flow of wealth and well-being in our lives? We will discuss some of the actions used by many radionic users with good results. There are people who identify patterns of economic behavior or financial geniuses and emit these IDFs on themselves as a way to absorb the style of action in the field of activity of that person or persons. Others use their device to identify which would be the fields of action on which to work, on a personal level, to improve in a job or move up the ladder of command of the company where they work. Others use their radionic device to choose companies which they are more likely to join and send their CVs. In any case, it is important to consider that when a person thinks of money, you are actually thinking about things of interest that can be obtained with money. Not everyone needs or even aims to have a very expensive car. Not everyone wants a yacht in front of their properties. Not everyone wants to have a most luxurious mansion on the beach. Actually, what they want is the enjoyment in these things. Therefore, a good suggestion is to focus on what you really want to get and let our unconscious mind lead us to find ways to get it with the help of the radionics. Perhaps the desire of traveling the world can be satisfied in a more attractive and enriching way if you work as a correspondent than if you travel as a tourist. Therefore, you should think about what money means and use radionics to approach the target instead of just thinking about how to get it. In any case, if what you want is the possession of specific physical object, you can be sure that a radionic device will provide easier ways to get it. That said, most people believe that there are those with luck for the money. However, a closer look at those people shows us that what's behind their lucky star is an attitude toward life, a way of acting, an effort, and a number of additional factors that make that person have economic success. Copy those factors, repeat and adapt them to your own personality. This will allow you a better chance of increasing the flow of wealth. However, we have already talked about IDFs. The IDFs may relate to individual factors or factors as a whole. You can issue these factors in one way or another and test the effectiveness of each of them on yourself. You can also remove barriers that could sabotage your efforts to succeed due to misconceptions or mental programs instilled wrong since your childhood. Can I use radionics to win a lottery? That's a common question type. Winning the lottery is only possible by hitting the right number. It is a pure chance. Every individual has a number and is exerting mental energy toward that number to be the winner. A radionic device facilitates a specific action, but is not always guaranteed 100%. When we consider the possibility that someone reaches their goal, we think it is possible that different people using different paths achieve similar results, and all, or nearly all, can satisfy their desire. Returning to the theory of matrix, each individual will get according to the energy put into his goal and the possibilities of interconnection. But if we think of gambling, it is only a matter of chance, considering that mental energy put into each number by each of the participants is relatively similar. However, there are theorists who think that radionic device increase such possibilities as with anything else. In this book, this idea will not be supported because, although there are people who claim to have won awards in gaming using radionic, the author believes that there are not enough positive experiences and a clear line of action as to support in practice this possibility.